avoidant and there's anxious. And so you have your anxious attachment, where someone in a relationship, whether that be platonic or romantic or familial, they will feel anxious and will cling on. So if you've ever heard about like a clingy boyfriend or a clingy girlfriend, they have an anxious attachment style. And then there's avoidant, where when someone stresses out, they become more distant. So it's more apparent in older generations, where when someone gets stressed out, they just kind of go off and do their own thing, and they stop talking and reaching out and stuff like that. And then they're secure, which is a healthy mixture of the two, where they neither cling nor detach themselves from the other person. So a long time ago, I was probably anxiously attached to people. I was somewhat clingy, especially with my partners. But then somewhere along the lines, I became, or I believe I became, avoidantly attached. Or rather, my attachment still became avoidant. So I don't know why this really happened. I seem to have swung right through the secure attachment style right into the avoidant one. But it's kind of funny because on one hand I do crave a closeness with people. I want to have friends, I want to have a relationship, I want to be tight with my family. But at the same time, it's like the more that someone seems to enjoy my presence, the more I want to get away from them. I don't know why this is the case. It's completely uncontrollable. And it's completely counterproductive. But here we are. I went on a couple of dates. Not a couple of dates ago. I've been doing this a date lately, but I did have some time lately, so I did go on some dates. And there was one girl who liked me, and for some reason I couldn't bring myself to like her back. And she was like a perfectly pleasant person, but it's like once I determined that she liked me, I was like, pump the brakes, Joe. Let's slow down. And so it's like that with friendships as well. Like when someone messages me, what's going on here? Like, why are you doing this? This is a little much. And you know, with some this light isn't okay. We're gonna be very slow. Anyways, in the past though, like, I was like anxiously attached and kind of sit by my phone and wait for someone to reach out, and they get like 12 messages back off a 4-word text. And that was obviously unhealthy as well. So I hope that I will find a balance. Maybe swing back towards secure attachment. Actually, swing towards. Never been there, probably. I started kickboxing in December, and I had done some kickboxing much earlier in my life. And the dojo that I was a part of back then was particularly vicious, where people would punch in sparring, which is not the same as fighting. Sparring is practice, essentially. People would punch really hard, like they were fighting during the sparring. And so I'd go home those days with bruises and black eyes and bloody noses and whatnot. But in this new dojo, things are much more relaxed. People control their punches and control their movement. But my sensei, let's call it, told me, hey John, it's apparent to me that you have some actually, this wasn't the sensei, this is his, let's call it the co-coach. She said, it's apparent to me that you have some trauma from your last time doing martial arts, and you don't feel safe while sparring. Like, you're very tense, you're very stiff, you punch really hard, you snap your punches, which is good in a fight, but not meant to be done in sparring, because it's dangerous. You could hurt someone by doing that. And she said, we're just going to show you that you don't have to be afraid here, and in doing so you will learn that you don't need to stress, and you can be smooth, be safe, and not have to drop into the fight or flight reflex. I wonder if attachment style is like that, where you need a healthy, secure relationship in order to understand that you don't need to be anxiously attached. You don't need to be avoidantly attached. It's kind of like a catch-22 in that if you do have an anxious attachment, if you do have an avoidant attachment style, then how are you going to have how are you going to have a secure relationship? You need someone who is going to tolerate and not only tolerate, work with and adapt to your attachment style. And that's a big ask of people, right? They pretty much ask you to read your mind to some extent. But perhaps that's what's needed. Perhaps that's what we